On this week's episode of Bayou Wild TV,
I like to get the big groups in, that way the whole group gets a shot. If I see that the big groups aren't going to do it, if the wind's, not like it needs to be or whatever, then yeah, the 3s and 4s, we're going to shoot them. But I like to get them in as close as I can.
Closed captioning is brought to you by Global Outdoors. Find your next adventure and share your experiences with others by downloading the Global Outdoors mobile app or visiting globaloutdoors.com. Every day, we strive to preserve traditions that have spanned generations.
Around every turn of the bayou, Mother Nature reveals unique people, places, and experiences.
and the bounty of animals and fish. Well, in Louisiana, we just call that lagniappe. I'm Don Dubuque.
I'm Chris LeCoq.
I'm Captain Martha Spencer. Join us as we document the adventure,
Sportsmanship,
and heritage that make us Bayou Wild. Welcome to Humnoke, Arkansas, population 286. At the intersection of Arkansas State Highways 13 and 165 sit this country backroad's main fixtures, a Dollar General and a country co-op. It's one of those speck-on-the-map rural towns that you can easily miss with the blink of an eye. So why are we here? The humble establishment of Humnoke sits 12 miles from Stuttgart, Arkansas, renowned by hunters across the globe as the duck and goose capital of the world. And here, at the Bent Barrel Duck Club, is where the good old boys gather. It's the time of year for another Bayou Wild TV Cajun Invasion, chasing speckle-bellied geese on opening weekend of Arkansas's goose season.
Hi, this is Ben McDonald inviting you to the one and only Louisiana Sportsman Show presented by Shell in Baton Rouge, March 1st through the 3rd at the Raising Cane's River Center. Same great show, new location. Vendors from Louisiana and other states on hand offering great deals on fishing and hunting gear, boats, tractors, golf carts, and much more. Get your buck officially scored at the Louisiana Land Bank's Big Buck Contest. Stay for Zydeco's hockey games. Plan to join the one and only Louisiana Sportsman Show March 1st through the 3rd in Baton Rouge.
One of the reasons why Double D has been around for 50 years is because we are consistent with what built the business. And we go to great lengths to make sure that when you bring a deer or a hog or whatever it may be, your meat stays your meat all the way through the process. But we want to be as true to the original intent, which is a local meat company. And that's something that we want to maintain for as long as the Lord lets us do it.
This is Don Dubuque asking you to join me as a member of the Coastal Conservation Association. For 30 years, CCA has worked in Louisiana to conserve our incredible fisheries, making sure that our fishing is great today and for generations to come. Whether looking out for redfish and specks, eliminating gill nets, building reefs across the coast, or work at the state capitol and in D.C., CCA is doing what's best for the fish and the sport we love so much. Your $30 membership will ensure that this work and our great fishing endures well into the future. Go to ccalouisiana.com and join CCA today. Become a supporter of the Louisiana Wildlife Agents Association today by visiting supportlwaa.org. Browse the selection of exclusive gear, including t-shirts in a variety of colors and styles, plus hats, koozies, and more. Gear up today and support the LWAA.
It'll catch. Not if it catches. Get cut. Ready? Yep. Right on. There you go. Now keep going, Steve. Right now. A little bit.
I think this is a very sought-after trip because not only is it fairly close to home, it is so different from what we hunt in Louisiana. We see speckled-bellied geese nowhere near in the numbers that they do up here. This is really the heartland for waterfowling, especially speckled-bellied. And due to the landscape, you can really get to appreciate the bird. You get to watch them much longer. Even if they don't decoy in large numbers, you still get to watch the birds coming in and working. And I think that's something a lot of places you don't get to see.
Now straight up.
We typically hunt anywhere from 6 to, last year we had 27 guns in the blind. I like to try to set my spread to where the geese will pull all to the far end of the blind and they'll start setting. I like to get the big groups in, that way the whole group gets a shot. If I see that the big groups aren't going to do it, if the wind's not like it needs to be or whatever, then yeah, the 3s and 4s, we're going to shoot them. But I like to get them in as close as I can. And again, if they won't come close, we shoot them at 7 yards.
What I've learned in my short tenure of hunting geese and ducks is that it's hunting like anything else, and that if you do it long enough, it's going to be a challenge. And I think it's been a little more challenging this year with the weather conditions leading up to the hunt. It's been a drought across much of the south, and that of course affects waterfowl. And we still saw a tremendous amount of birds, but perhaps not in the numbers we saw last year.
Right about above you.
Well, we were fortunate this morning to have the rain hold off for the majority of our hunt. The trade-off was that the birds were very spooky, the high cloud cover gave them great visibility, and they stayed high. And to me, that resembled a late season pintail or a bird that didn't want to decoy in Louisiana. So I think the birds were a little more weary. I think the wind direction hurt them. I'm not so versed on why that wind direction would cause them not to come in, but they weren't responding to the calls like we saw last year. And who can really get into a goose's brain and explain why they don't want to respond to a call? We had several larger groups where 1 or 2 birds were curious and they wanted to peel off, but they just couldn't pull away from the group, and they were headed somewhere else, maybe to feed, maybe to lay low because they knew rain was coming. But once again, we can't get into the brains of the birds to know why they do what they do, but that's part of what makes it kind of interesting.
typically this time of year it's usually warm, and so when the geese get here, this is what they're looking for, is just stomping water. They like the sloppy fields, and you can kill them in dry fields, but typically you want to shoot them over this stomping water, and they'll leave here and go back to roost and then come back in the afternoons. But what we got this morning is buckshot mud. It made it a little tough, but it worked out, and we had a pretty good shooting.
All right, so I've known Cliff for a number of years. He's good friends with Jimmy Richard, one of my dive friends, and we have history on the water together, but not in the blind.
No.
And you certainly have a little more gun experience than I do. Where have you hunted speckled-bellied geese before?
I have done it down in mostly west of us. Didn't do much in the Biloxi Marsh when I was younger. Very little in the Biloxi Marsh, but mostly Lake Arthur and around that area.
And what do you think, the biggest differences you've noticed from hunting in Louisiana for speckled-belly versus in Arkansas?
The first thing was they hang up in the birds coming in. They hang up pretty heavy duty right there in the rice fields in Louisiana, and they hang up high. It's tough shooting, but here they come much closer.
Yes.
Elliot!
And it's a lot more fun. It's up close and personal.
Yeah, and
I like it.
our first day together here, the birds were a little difficult. So I think it's impressive to see that you think a tough day in Arkansas is a good day for what we see back in Louisiana.
Yes.
Coming up next, get your appetite ready. Goose is on the menu at White Oak Estate and Gardens.
That night, I think we have some apples on the board right there somewhere.
Some apples.
You ready to throw some in?
Yep.
Apples, of course, is going to give us some nice sweetening in there. It's going to give a nice sweet flavor. As the apples cook, they're going to just let that good apple flavor go into it. And birds love this type of seasoning.
Coming up next, roasted speckled-bellied goose with Chef John Folse.
Delta Marina is Plaquemines Parish fishing one-stop. Get live bait, fuel, ice, tackle, and marine supplies. Then launch into the world's most productive saltwater fishing. Return to the fishing cleaning station, relax in first-class cabins overlooking the bayou, all in Delta Marina's safety video-monitored parking lot. Need a fishing charter guide? Delta Marina can hook you up. Cook your catch in your kitchenette or dine in the upstairs restaurant. Visit Delta Marina for a day or a week. Stop in just off Highway 11 down Rosemary Drive in Empire. Visit thedeltamarina.com.
In Louisiana, food brings everyone together. These are the flavors that make friends out of total strangers. The flavors that remind you of home. It's the meals you crave, that take time, that show love. Because in Louisiana, we cook. And we know that when we come together to cook and eat, life gets better. So pull up a chair, leave room for seconds, and pass a good time. Because life needs Louisiana flavor, baby.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
There's nothing like the sound of flowing water. It relaxes the soul. Like walks along a creek bed, I enjoy sitting in my favorite chair, warming myself by a roaring fire, and sipping the smooth, rich flavor of my Stillwater bourbon, or perhaps my Stillwater rum, distilled and sold exclusively here at White Oak Estate and Gardens in Baton Rouge.
Back to Bayou Wild TV. We're at White Oak Estate and Gardens with our friend Chef John Folse. And John, I came all the way back from Stuttgart with a speckled-bellied goose, and I drive up here and you got a whole pond full of geese, although they're Canadians.
You gotta walk through those Canadian geese out there, boy. I tell you, they took over my whole White Oak Estate. I bet I have 1,000 of them.
Well, they were giving me a wide berth. That must be my reputation following me. Well, we're gonna do this speckled-belly Holly Beach style. Tell me about it.
absolutely. Well, you know where Holly Beach is.
I know exactly where it is.
A lot of great hunting camps in that area, and you can imagine how many great hunters out there are cooking this goose. But this is a recipe that comes from my grandfather's side of the family. He was all of my family big hunters, obviously, but my grandfather loved goose, and I never forget one of the great Christmas traditions were the big 2 or 3 platters of big roasted goose in different ways on the table. So I've always had a love for it. And of course, here we have one of these babies. So you want to season it up good for us, huh? Just a little salt, pepper, just throw it on in there, get some in. They don't come pre-seasoned. You got to get it in there. little
pepper.
Yeah, and you know, because it's going into a full body of the bird, you can put a little excess of the salt and pepper and granulated garlic as we.
How much of this you go with?
As much as you want, because
I like 2 of
because
those,
remember that carcass in there is going to hold back a lot of the seasoning into the meat. So we season the inside first, and then we're going to do the same thing on the outside. So Don, just go ahead and put a little bit more of that seasoning on here. I'll rub it in, which is what I like to do. There you go, like that. And just get it in there, especially if you're doing this, whether it's at home or whether it's at the hunting camp, you know, everybody's going to have the idea about how much spice, right? Oh, that's not enough for me, you know. That's not, oh, you ought to see what we do, right?
Well, you come go get your own goose.
So, and then inside the bird, we're going to put a little bit of this, why don't you give me a spoon of that garlic right there? Right inside. Give me a big chunk, too. Garlic right inside that bird. One more will be good. And get it all in there. Now what we're going to do is put it into our roasting pan like this. And now you have an option here. You can actually go ahead and saute it first and brown it nicely if you want to. That's what a lot of cooks will do. If it's going into an oven to be baked, it's not necessary that you do that because you're going to get all of that heat coming down on it's going to brown nice and of course it's your choice. It's the choice of the hunter. So now we're going to go ahead with all of our vegetables. Let's go. Let's do this. I'm going to move this out of the way. Let's put this bowl here and mix a few of those things together. Let's go ahead and dump all of that in there. Onion, celery, bell pepper, garlic, carrots. Carrots is going to add the sweetness to it right there. And give me a big chunk of that garlic right there. Let's get some of that in there. Yeah, a little bit. Give me a better chunk than that.
Better than that.
Yeah. Give me the rest of that garlic. Give me the rest of that garlic. Come on, let's
Get it
go.
over with. You're wasting time with a spoon.
Now go ahead and stir that around pretty good right there. Mix it in good. And Don, I also like to season this. A lot of people say, "Are you kidding me? You're going to season the seasoning?"
Yeah.
You better believe it. This is hunting camp cooking, y'all. And I mean, it's exciting to be able to put all of this together. It just enhances the flavor. So absolutely, I'm going to go ahead and you can throw in some of that pepper and garlic. I like to put a lot of the granulated. Now look, this is granulated garlic. See what it is? We can mix that up. You have your little spoon, mix that up real good. And
seasoned seasoning.
Yeah, I know. No, absolutely. And then, of course, I always like, you know, I'm all about color in my cooking as well. So I like to add the colored vegetables, the beautiful colors of all the different seasonings, because you eat with your eyes first, right?
True.
And look at that. Now you know by looking at this. Now that's going to taste good. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So we're going to go with that, stir that. Now, I think we have some apples on the board right there somewhere.
Some apples.
You ready to throw some in?
Yep.
Apples, of course, is going to give us some nice sweetening in there. It's going to give a nice sweet flavor. As the apples cook, they're going to just let that good apple flavor go into it. And birds love this type of seasoning right here. No doubt about it. To flavor the meat, absolutely. Now, I'm going to put a nice big chunk in here like that. Get that seasoning down in there. Just get it down and put it in. And just look, is there any doubt that that's gonna taste good? Look at the garlic in there, the celery, the onions, and pound it in there with all of that. Now, Don, let's go ahead all the way around the side of this. Let's take some of this. If you bring me the bowl, I'll just Well, let me get my.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and put more of it on top of that. Look at that. Any doubt that this is gonna be good? Yeah, and more fruit in season, y'all. Whatever fruit, whether it's persimmons, whether it's muscadines, whether it's grapes, throw it on in there. All of that sugar is really gonna continue to enhance the flavor. So that's what we're gonna do. So right here, we're gonna go in to an oven about 375 degrees. We can put a little sheet of foil on top of it to keep it from over browning, and then at the end you can take it off to finish the browning, and it's just going to be a beautiful, beautiful centerpiece for the table. Absolutely nice.
Stick around. We'll be right back to put it to the test. We're cooking with Chef John Folse. It's Holly Beach Speckled Belly Goose.
Ooh, nothing like it.
Smelling good already.
Well, look.
Love it.
In 1967, Dutch Stogner realized his dream to run his own meat market. 50 years and 3 generations later, Double D and the Stogner family still operate with Dutch's original commitment to quality. Pick up some Double D sausage today and share your good times with us on Facebook.
This is Don Dubuque asking you to join me as a member of the Coastal Conservation Association. For 30 years, CCA has worked in Louisiana to conserve our incredible fisheries, making sure that our fishing is great today and for generations to come. Whether looking out for redfish and specks, eliminating gill nets, building reefs across the coast, or work at the state capitol and in D.C., CCA is doing what's best for the fish and the sport we love so much. Your $30 membership will ensure that this work and our great fishing endures well into the future. Go to ccalouisiana.com and join CCA today.
We love our children. We protect them. We guide them. We prepare them for life in the world. With all that we do, from deep in our hearts, we cannot control all things. Life-threatening illnesses and disabilities affect far too many of our children each year. While we cannot change the circumstance, we can make dreams come true. Dreams to provide hope, to provide spiritual healing and strength, to provide moments of happiness and relief in the hardest of times. We can give a glimmer of light and hope in a time of darkness and despair. Join huntofalifetime.org to help make dreams come true, to provide hope for children with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Hunt of a Lifetime is a nonprofit organization fulfilling dreams for hunting and fishing trips to youth 21 and under with life-threatening illnesses and disabilities. Visit huntofalifetime.org to learn how you can make a difference.
Hi, this is Ben McDonald inviting you to the one and only Louisiana Sportsman Show presented by Shell in Baton Rouge, March 1st through the 3rd at the Raising Cane's River Center. Same great show, new location. Vendors from Louisiana and other states on hand offering great deals on fishing and hunting gear, boats, tractors, golf carts, and much more. Get your buck officially scored at the Louisiana Land Bank's Big Buck Contest. Stay for Zydeco's hockey games. Plan to join the one and only Louisiana Sportsman Show March 1st through the 3rd in Baton Rouge.
Welcome back. He's all done, or she's all done. I'm not sure whether it was a he or a she. Look how pretty that is.
Well, and it's all the presentation on the plate, too. I mean, there's an anticipation of what it's going to taste like, what it's going to look like, and then you bring it to the plate. Choose the right bowl, too, y'all. I mean, choose the right plate. There's all kind of nice china or whatever to bring something to the table that just makes it all look better. Look how beautiful that is. Reminds me of my baby picture, y'all. Look at my baby picture.
I think those Canada geese are knocking at the door. They all want to get in on this. It looks so pretty.
It's a great presentation and a wonderful dish. I just love that goose.
Great for holidays.
Yeah, absolutely.
Speckled belly goose, Holly Beach style with Chef John Folse.
Do you want to make sure you're doing things right when boating in Louisiana?
Make sure every occupant in your vessel is wearing the right type and size life jacket before leaving the dock. Size information for the intended wearer can be found on the information panel.
Make sure you stay safely to the right side of the waterway when you're operating in a narrow channel. Always choose to go right when it is safe and practical.
Make sure you're operating at the right speed for the given conditions every time you're boating. Just because your boat can safely travel at higher speeds in perfect conditions doesn't mean it should in a chop or when encountering other wakes or maneuvers.
In Louisiana, the best way to make sure that you're doing things the right way on the water is by attending and completing one of our boating safety education courses. Learn more and book a course at www.wlf.la.gov. These NASBA-approved courses are statistically proven to save lives. Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
Do the right thing.
When it comes to doing your thing on Louisiana waters, do the right thing.
Hi, I'm Miss Louisiana, Mackenzie Scroggs, with a safety message from the Louisiana propane dealers. Propane cylinders are safety certified for 12 years, and after that, you must have it recertified or traded in for a new one. And if you make any changes to your tank or appliances, you must have it inspected by a certified propane dealer. And that's the law. Propane is safe, clean, exceptional energy for everyone, and it's a fuel for our future. To find out more, visit louisianapropane.com.
Another Bayou Wild TV Cajun Invasion is in the books. The cackles, calls, gun blasts, and retrieves keeps grins on the faces of hunters. But even with a bad hunt, sharing time outdoors with old friends and new acquaintances are what makes each of these trips unique.
You know, it's always fun to meet people that watch Bayou Wild and appreciate what we do as a show. I think that's half the fun, is interacting with people that also enjoy the outdoors and putting a face to the people that watch us. And I think that goes for them as well. We've had people come on Cajun Invasions. It's called a Cajun Invasion, but it really isn't. It's really just bringing somewhere to somewhere new, something that somebody hasn't seen before. Last year on this trip, we brought, I think, 8 different states worth of people, and this year we've got several different states as well. And a lot of people are first timers here, and I think that Arkansas has a lot to offer, and that's why we like to do this.
Tell me, how are the Louisiana shooters?
They's pretty good. It's pretty good. You know, we had some whiff shots, but other than that, it was pretty good.
Thanks to the folks at Bent Barrel Lodge for the brand of Southern hospitality found in hunting camps across this region, welcoming hunters from around the world to their little slice of waterfowl hunting paradise is common manner we enjoy with the adventure, sportsmanship, and heritage of Bayou Wild.